everybody, welcome to week 7 of Project Life. And goodness, I've been out of action for a little while because we haven't had any electricity in this part of South Africa, but I'm back and here we are with week 7. So let me just dive in. I'm starting with an empty page, going to a previous page, copying my main grid blocks and then placing them onto the new page. And then what I generally have to do is replace the week 7 with Ali's font that I usually use, and I need to update so that it now reflects the correct date for week 7. Here you can see I'm just repositioning the blocks so that I can go with the design that I've decided on. And I come from a Project Life background, and so a lot of the grids that you see are sort of typical of what they used to have in Project Life. So I'm just creating a combination here where I've got some 6x4 blocks and then the smaller 3x4 blocks, and I'm just duplicating the grid or the image blocks. And then here what you can see is I'm just double checking on the spacing, and you can see it's 10 point something, so I'm just making a consistent 10. So I'm going to the spacing of each of those grid blocks and I'm changing it to 10 because that's what I'm going to use throughout this document. I might need to go and check the whole document at the end before I print, but for now you can see me removing the images and just slightly positioning that so that the gaps are all even. Now I replace my main image for the week holder card, and then I begin populating it with photos from my stories. I've chosen some of the cards from Ali Edwards' kits, and then I simply add in the pictures, whether they are portrait or landscape. I just make sure that they are positioned so that the images appear as I'd like them to appear. Pretty simple design here. I'm looking for an image to fill that bottom right hand side. And then this particular week was Valentine's week, so you see me go to elements and I'm writing the phrase Valentine's Day, and I'm going to be looking at the graphics to see if I can find a kind of a clip art or a PNG of Valentine's Day. And I found that, and I'm putting this on the right hand side with those 3 pictures. I was lucky enough to spend Valentine's Day with my husband and my nephew who's out here visiting from Korea. And then in the bottom here I'm looking for an orange to fill the block that's going to sort of match the in the story of this day card. And that's where I'm going to pop my journaling for this week. You can see me going to my notes app here, finding the journaling, copying it, returning to Canva, clicking on text box and adding a text box, pulling it into the box where I'd like it to appear, double clicking the text, and then pasting, making sure the text is small enough so that it's going to fit in that box. And then repositioning using the side handles. Wherever you see a handle or one of those white sort of handles, you can reposition the box and change the size. And then I fit the text neatly into that small area. Yep, I'm pretty happy with that page. Okay, on to the next page. This is a quite simple page. I'm just going to be using a grid. So you can see me here going to elements and grids and then looking for the grid. You'll become familiar with a lot of these grids when you use them pretty often. And I've got favorites. So here I am looking for my favorite, and this is one of them. It allows me 2 nice landscape shots and 4 squares. I generally count the number of images that I have for the story and then look for a grid that matches that number of images. So you can see me here just going to find the images that I'm going to be including on that day. Love these sort of prominent butterfly images, which is a wall art in a local market, Shongweni in South Africa, that we go to on the weekends. It's amazing. And that was at the jockey club where we could see all the horses in training. Beautiful venue, and in the background there's a stunning waterfall. And then I'm looking for an image from the various market stalls here where Taeho is looking at the market. And then the last one is in the beer shed where it's my dad, Taeho, and Kwangjon. Yep, very happy with that. And love this clip art which says Weekend Life. And you can see me here repositioning the size, then going to edit photo and looking for a outline. Either I looked at the drop shadow there, but then I decided to go for an outline. It looks a bit thick there, so I'm going to drop that down a bit. And yep, I'm really happy with that. Love the butterflies and the font and the description of Weekend Life. The next page, as you caught a glimpse of there, was we went rock climbing. So I'm going to be adding an image on the left hand side. I look at the photos and I decide, what do I want to be a focal point on the page. And on this particular page, I loved one of the photos of Kwangjon climbing. And I felt by making it the full length, it gives you a little bit of a feeling for the height. I was nearly having a heart attack because he didn't have any ropes or anything, and they were climbing quite high, although the mat was quite soft at the bottom. And then you can see on the right hand side, I'm using a grid with 6 images, and I simply go to my folder that has my images, and I populate them into the grid. Generally, I choose the picture that I like to have big and focus on, and that shows the fun they had playing soccer with their feet. It's a Korean tradition. And then to end off the morning, we went to Crazy Korean for a delicious samgyeopsal meal where you cook it at the table, and it was fantastic camaraderie with the people that we'd just spent time climbing with, and lovely ending on a Sweet Dream ice cream, which is a local ice cream maker that is located in Crazy Korean. Lastly, I just wanted to add some text. So from the text area, I've picked a pre-designed text element that can be edited, and you can see me here highlighting the text and then writing my own 3 words: climbing, camaraderie, and what's the last one? I can't remember. Challenge. So I am going to have to change the size of this in order to keep the words each on one line. So you can see me doing that using the minus key until the text all fits into the box. And I've decided that the bottom text over there, I'd like to actually change that font. It's a little bit not easy to read. So I highlight it, and then I'm going to be going to the font area, and I've changed it to League Spartan, and added a outline to all of the text so that I can see it a little more clearly. And here you can see me experimenting with the thickness and then changing that line to being black instead of gray as it was by default. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way that page turns out. What a fun afternoon. So I thought I was finished, but then I felt like the letters were a little bit close to each other. So I've gone to effects, and then I've chosen spacing, and I made a little adjustment to both the letter spacing and to the line spacing, just to make it a little bit more easy to read. Now on to the next page. Keeping it really simple, I've picked a grid that has 10 pictures, and really all this is going to involve is going to my folder where I've imported the pictures that I'm going to be using. And as I mentioned earlier, for me, I picked the best 2 pictures to enlarge. They show the venue and the area. So the one is the beachfront on the top left hand side, and the bottom is Umhlanga, which is gorgeous. There's a whalebone pier, and we were trying to take my nephew to as many different scenic places as possible. Here you can see combination of between Umhlanga and town. So my nephews and a friend who we had visiting from Pietermaritzburg hadn't been to the center of town, so we took them to the city hall and got to see beautiful old buildings. That's actually built on the same plans as the Belfast City Hall, unbelievably. And yeah, just basically populating the pages with images. I absolutely love this, and yet again I've used 4 pages for a week.